Welcome into Falcons Today by Chat Sports. I'm Harrison Graham, and on today's show, we're going to do something a little bit different. We are going to take a look at your trade targets, players that you want the Falcons to go after before Tuesday's NFL trade deadline. We put up a community post. It looked like this, and a lot of you guys commented some players that you're interested in adding before Tuesday. So we wanted to get you guys more involved and send in your ideas. So, hey, subscribe to the channel because this is the type of stuff we like to do. We like to get you guys involved, the audience, whether it's standard mailbags or shows like this. Who knows what we'll come with in the future. So don't miss out. Subscribe today. That way next time we do something like this involving the audience, you won't miss the boat. All right, let's start with Inner Power here. He sent this in. He says, I definitely want the Falcons to trade for Payne, Daron Payne. We are in need of a defensive tackle, and I feel this trade will heavily increase the Falcons' chance of going to the playoffs. I'll group a few together here because a lot of Daron Payne love today. Isaac Crimes as well. Daron Payne makes some sense because he could groom our young defensive line players. Next year we could keep him in the rotation. I agree. He's a really solid player, and he's kind of vet status now. Jaden LO7 also says, if I was the GM, here are two players that that are good and would make us a defensive team. Two players are Daron Payne and Robert Quinn. So Robert Quinn got traded to Philadelphia yesterday, so he probably sent that in before then, but didn't want to just clarify that. But Daron Payne is a viable target that we have talked about and will talk about here. Ben Standig of The Athletic tweeted this out, saying a source with knowledge of trade negotiations says that the Commanders could potentially get a second or a third-round pick by trading Daron Payne. So if you're Atlanta, would you trade a second? I don't know. I would probably trade a third because Daron Payne is one of the better interior pass rushers in the NFL. Aaron Donald with the Rams, Chris Jones with the Chiefs. After that, Daron Payne is right up there. He is that good of a player, and he's been really, really consistent. He also stops the run pretty well. I'm a big fan of him, and he's young enough where if you make this trade, you're going to sign him and keep him for the future as well. At least that's what I would think. You look at this front, I like Grady Jarrett. Abdullah Anderson has kind of been a career journeyman, and he's starting right now. I don't love that. Taquan Graham's been decent, but Daron Payne comes in here. He can play that nose spot. He can play defensive end in that 3-4. He can kind of have that versatility for you. And if you pair him with Grady Jarrett, you've got two legitimate inside pass rushers. And that's tough to go against. I think most quarterbacks would tell you they would rather see pressure come off the edge. That way they can either step up into the pocket or kind of wheel out around. You get that pressure in your face right away. Unless you're a Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields type, Mariota, for example, it's hard to get out of there and make a play. So you get Daron Payne, that would be a lot of fun on this front for Atlanta. Would the rest of you trade for Daron Payne? Because a lot of you guys want to. How about the rest of you who didn't comment Daron Payne? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Let me know what you guys think. I actually like the idea quite a bit, and clearly so do a lot of you. Let's go to Christopher Bailu here. I say trade for Daron Payne as well. He also added in, go sign Janoris, Jenkins, or Malcolm Butler off the free agent list. So Malcolm Butler, who did he visit recently, Rolly? He visited the Dolphins recently, so he's healthy, it appears. He got banged up in the preseason, but looks like he could be healthy and help a team out for the second half of the season. Obviously, he's a little bit older, but when he's been healthy, he's been a good corner in this league. Jackrabbit Jenkins is another guy who's had a lot of success. He certainly isn't what he was a few years ago, neither is Butler, but I don't hate the idea. Get a vet corner in here, get Daron Payne in, and then obviously when you get Hayward back as well, that secondary could be pretty darn good. Obama Man, quarterback Greedy Williams or Desmond King. I think both of these guys are attainable. Greedy Williams, there's a report out there that they are taking calls. This is coming from Brad Stainbrook, that Greedy Williams could be available. Desmond King seems to be on the trade block every single year for whatever reason. He's like the Jay Crowder of the NFL. But Greedy Williams here, a young player who has been okay up and down. He's had a lot of injuries. They're certainly fielding calls. Like I said, he's fallen behind in terms of the depth chart in Cleveland. So this could be a trade where you're buying low on a pretty solid talent, a high round pick just a couple of years ago in the NFL draft. And if he doesn't have a future in Cleveland, maybe you can throw like a 4th or 5th round pick, try and bring him in here and be a long-term play. Maybe he could become that number 2 corner long-term opposite of A.J. Terrell. I think that is a possibility. Now, Greedy Williams last year had a couple of picks, had 10 pass breakups, so he's shown he can be a good player in this league. But injuries have popped up. The Browns have kind of become a mess, so it's hard to know what exactly is going on there with Greedy Williams. But middle-round pick for him, that's something you could absolutely talk me into if you're Atlanta. Now, BetUS is something I've been talked into for a couple of years because I've been betting on sports with them since 2020, and you guys should join that as well. Create an account today, chatsports.com/betfalcons. Use our promo code Falcons125 and put down $100. They'll give you $125 for free. Put down $200, $250 for free. That's where the 125% deposit bonus comes into play. Some extra cash to go bet on the Falcons or other NFL or NBA games. Chatsports.com/betfalcons. Promo code Falcons125. All right, the RC Plane Builder. I have many players that the Falcons could get. Here are the likely and unlikely targets. See, shout out the RC Plane Builder. This is bang for your buck right here. This is a lesson in life, guys. Just put all the names on there in one, and then we'll talk about all of them. Greedy Williams, Kendrick Bourne, Odell Beckham, Ndamukong, Sue. Obviously, OBJ and Sue are free agents. But they could be guys you could try and go sign. And I do agree that OBJ probably not going to sign with the Falcons. Sue, probably not either. Probably more of a high-level contender. But again, we talked about Greedy Williams, but also Kendrick Bourne. Jeremy Fowler reported this via NESN that multiple teams have called the Patriots about Kendrick Bourne, who slid down the depth chart this season after a productive 2021 campaign. And Kendrick Bourne and the Patriots as a whole kind of in a weird spot as well. Do they sell? They're trying to figure out that quarterback situation with Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi. But he was really good last year. He was probably their best receiver. 55 catches, 800 yards, almost 15-yard average, had 5 touchdowns. I like him as like a number 3 type. And when you already have Drake London and Kyle Pitts, Bourne can be kind of a secondary target for you. So, yeah, 4th, 5th round pick for Kendrick Bourne. Again, I like these middle round value type of trade targets. I'm not trading a first, probably not even a 2nd round pick at this deadline if I'm Atlanta, but I'll trade those middle round picks if I can help this team this year because the Falcons have a chance to make a run in the NFC South. Now, which one do you like? Which RC Plane Builder target do you want the most? Again, Kendrick Bourne, Greedy Williams, or Ndamukong or OBJ. Which one of those 4 players would you like to go get? Let us know down in the comments section. Let's go to Rashad Clark here. The Falcons need a number 1 solidified running back. What about Travis Etienne or Tony Pollard? Couple thoughts here, Rashad. And I get what you're saying with Cordero Patterson out. It's kind of been this hybrid of Algier and Caleb Huntley, but Cordell Patterson could return very soon. His IR stint could end, I should say. We'll see where he's at in his recovery after this week, which means they could activate his practice window and be active as soon as next week. So why trade for an RB? And I'll add this too. Travis Etienne is starting to take off in Jacksonville. They're not trading him. They just traded James Robinson. They're keeping him. Tony Pollard's a key part of Dallas's offense. They're not trading him. They're a contending team. So that's number 1. But number 2, I think Algier and Huntley have done okay, and Patterson should be coming back soon. Now, one more trade target, flipping back to the defensive side of the ball, is Clelin Ferrell. He's been linked to trade rumors for a couple of years now. CBS Sports suggested that the Falcons should go out and trade for Ferrell in an article posted today. Here's Cody Benjamin, who wrote this up. The former first-rounder's price tag should be low thanks to an underwhelming run in Vegas, and the Falcons, sneakily competitive in the NFC South, are still sorely lacking in the pass rush department. Maybe a change of scenery would allow the Clemson product to land on a modest deal and stick in Atlanta beyond 2022. Just half a sack this year. He has not lived up to those first-round expectations. He should never have been a top 5 pick, but there's some talent in there. He's an okay run stopper. Buy low on a high talent. Again, I like that type of trade for Atlanta, where you're not mortgaging major draft capital moving forward, because this is a team that still needs to add young talent through the draft. But I could see a move like this being on the docket for the Falcons before Tuesday. So let me know. Will the Falcons make a move at or before the trade deadline? Type T for trade, type P for pass. We'll see what happens. They're kind of stuck. Do you buy? Do you sell? We'll see what they do. Let me know what you guys think, T for trade or P for pass, and we'll see you next time here on Falcons Today.